Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spoonful podcast. I am one of your hosts, joined as always by Mr. Emmett Watkins Jr. He just escaped a slasher horror movie. Actually, he's recording live outside of a fucking
Yeah.
Jason's house or something.
Yeah, I'm recording live from Ohio, everybody. Welcome. If you've seen those memes on TikTok, it's pretty uh,
As a quick side note, I've been playing through Elden Ring, as everybody knows from the last episode. There's this section in Elden Ring. There's lots of memes about it. It's called K-Lid, right? You're playing the game, everything's normal, everything's beautiful, and then suddenly either you can make it there just by horse, or you can get transported there by getting kidnapped through what you think is a treasure chest.
I've seen this.
And you show up, and then suddenly the sky is red, and everything is awful, and it's horrifying, and there's these awful big bird demons, and it's terrible. And I was tweeting about how I hate Kaled, and every second I've spent there of my whole life has been against my will. And somebody replied and said, "Yeah, it's basically Ohio," and that really got me. Really got me.
Yeah, man. I love the Ohio memes. I don't know why it just tickles my fancy very specifically.
How the hell
But
you
yeah.
been, dude?
I've been doing pretty good, as always, just chilling, just vibing, just working, just trying to play as many games as I can
Mm.
and often failing to do so,
Oh yeah,
and also catch up on entertainment and often failing to do so. But
yeah.
I made good progress this week. I'm happy with myself.
You got it. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move my
Mm.
webcam. Sorry, by the way, let me just as a quick little PSA. I already went over it with Emmett, but if you're seeing the video version of the show, thank you. First of all, second of all, my setup looks a little bit different, and that would be because my lovely cats, one of which you can see in the background right over here, lovely cats, broke my cam link earlier today. Cam link 4K, not a cheap little doodad, and they broke it. Thankfully, I
Womp
had
womp.
a webcam, but yeah, it's gonna be looking like this for a little bit. Not able
Well,
to upgrade it as quick as I would have been in another stage in life. We'll get to that later.
yeah. Now you're on my level. Now we're
Or
slumming it together.
I
I
I
mean, I have a Razer webcam, so it's decent, but it's still a webcam at the end of the
yeah,
day.
your webcam is definitely pulling a lot more weight than mine. Mine's looking a little rough, a little bit. The colors aren't.
Eh.
I let's say I look slightly sickly. The tone of my skin, but we power through. That's what we do here, Spoonful.
Hey, we're going into flu season, so you're on theme. It's all good.
Exactly, and it's COVID. After I had COVID, this is just my permanent look. This is who I am.
Exactly, ghastly white. It's, my
Yeah,
favorite. It's like off color of eggshell.
it's
Uh,
a good look. It makes my tattoos really really pop. So
there you go, bingo bango.
there you go.
So I would like to start the show today with yet another iteration of guess this stupid random dumb thing I bought
Yeah,
recently.
yeah.
So I was saying this beforehand. So if you haven't, actually, I think we only started this in like the prelude episodes before we were officially Spoonful.
I think so. I
So
think most of the game show has been pre spoonful.
excellent, excellent. So for those of you who haven't listened to that, you can go back on the YouTube channel and check that out if you'd like. Where I bought, what was it? Actually, I'm not even gonna spoil it. Go watch it and
Yeah,
you
go
could go
watch it.
see
Go
what
figure out
stupid
what he
random
bought.
thing I bought.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're gonna do the same thing this episode. I'm gonna give you, let's see, I'm gonna give you 3 hints. I only have
Okay.
2 in my head right now,
Okay.
but I think 3 I can think of a 3rd
I
while
like
you're
that.
thinking.
I
So
like that. For those
if
of you who don't know at home, if you haven't been following, I am infamously very bad at this game.
and that's what makes it fun. Uh, so yeah, we'll see. I feel like this one should be very easy. This one
Okay.
should be very easy.
Okay.
All right,
I'm ready.
so here's the first hint. If you're a visual listener,
Mm.
wow, if you're a visual listener,
If you're
if you are a
as
visual
opposed to
watcher,
those damn audio listeners.
exactly. If you're listening to the audio, this isn't going to work entirely for you.
No, no, no.
But if you're watching us today, the background of my screen, I've taken out my background. You can't see my actual room. Instead, I have a what looks like a white house in the middle of an abandoned field
Mhm.
with like a slightly gray green sky to it.
It's like horror
That
movie poster vibes.
yeah, it's horror. That's exactly horror movie poster vibes.
Yeah.
That is the poster for this movie. It is like I took the logos and everything out, but it's the poster for this film. So that's your first hint. Does that trigger anything?
So you bought a film. I know that, right?
Okay,
That's
well there you go. I that actually that works. I'll give you that one. I didn't mean to reveal that, but
that
yeah.
was a freebie. I gamed the system and got that one because I was thinking video game up to that point. So I'll take that. So it's a film. It's a horror film. It's a house. Maybe it's not
It I
horror.
will say I will say it's technically a horror film, but
Okay.
for my description, for my taste, I don't like horror movies, and this doesn't
Mm,
feel too much like a horror movie, though
okay.
it definitely falls into that category.
Okay. Okay. Hmm. Let me think.
Hmm.
Let me think. Because I'm like in the back of my mind, I'm like, what's that movie that's like House on the Left or whatever? You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
I think I know the one you're talking about. I'll say this because if you're talking about the movie I think you are, I'm gonna steer you in the correct direction more.
Mm,
Um, I the reason I don't like horror movies a lot is because I don't like seeing people getting chopped up and brutalized that extremely.
yeah, no fun.
So I can fuck with a horror movie, but I can't fuck with the ultra violence. And I'll say
Mm,
right now, as far as ultra violence goes, this movie has pretty much none.
okay.
So it
Okay.
still can fall in that genre, but people aren't it's not Saw
Here's
or Hostel.
here's what I'm gonna do, right? I'm a veteran of the game. Doesn't mean I'm good at the game, but I'm a veteran of the game. I understand how the
Fair.
game works. I'm gonna throw a guess out. I'm not saying I think this is the thing, but I want to continue playing the game. I want another guess. I want another hint.
Okay.
I'm playing the
And I
game.
will be giving you another hint.
So I'm gonna guess like Amityville horror, right? Like a classic horror
Mm,
movie. I don't think that's it, but
okay.
I'll throw it out there. I'll get a vibe. I'll get a reading off of you. It's a back and forth sort of thing.
You know what? That would be a good guess considering that Eminem did make a song called Amityville, and that is featuring Bizarre, and I like Eminem quite a bit, but Amityville horror is a little bit too much for me, so that is not
Mm.
it.
Hey,
Now,
fair.
here's your second hint. Me purchasing this has completed my duology of these 2 films. Technically, there's a third, but we don't acknowledge it. It does not exist.
Oh, okay. Is
Plus, I don't even
this
think it has a steelbook, but yeah.
okay, I'm gonna say this. If this is what I
Mhm.
think it is, I thought of it as
Mm.
soon as I saw your background, but I'm like, no, I don't think that's
Ooh.
actually the cover for it.
Ooh.
But if it is,
Let's
then I
go.
feel like a dumbass because that was the first thought I saw the moment I called you. Is
Let's get it.
this 10 Cloverfield Lane?
It is indeed 10 Cloverfield
Let's go.
Lane.
Let's go. Should have gone with my
Yep.
gut, man. Should have gone with my gut.
Yep. You should have, because right on point. It's you kind of call it a horror movie. It really is, but it also doesn't feel as extreme as other horror movies. But yeah.
Definitely.
Um, for folks who do not know, because I don't think I've talked about it on the show too
What
much,
the
but
fuck is the name
I'm
of
a
that third one that came on Netflix that they announced in the Super Bowl and it was the coolest, hypest announcement
yeah,
ever and then the movie was like a piece of shit?
yeah, the Cloverfield paradox.
Cloverfield
Yeah.
Paradox, yeah.
It,
They
it was
really
a
had something and then they just dropped the ball, didn't they?
It's not even that the movie was, like, god awful, it was just, like, you sat us here for almost 2 hours to explain one aspect of the original movie,
Yeah.
and the movie itself wasn't worth
Wasn't all
sitting
that
through
good.
for that
Yeah.
answer. Yeah.
They
It was
had
cool
something.
ideas, but just mediocre execution.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I'm a massive Cloverfield fan. The first movie is one of my favorite films of all time. I was very excited when 10 Cloverfield Lane got announced. I went to watch in theaters. One of the main characters is named Emmett for Christ's sakes.
Come
So
on.
like
Come on.
I was like, this is an all-timer. So
Of course.
I've had the steelbook for Cloverfield for a long time. So I saw 10 Cloverfield Williams on sale, got the steelbook for that. So now I can rest peacefully until
Happy
they
for
make
you.
that new one that they announced last week.
Oh yeah, there is a new one. I forgot about that. See, okay, maybe they can keep up the Cloverfield cinematic universe, the
Yeah. Hopefully
CCU.
it's good. Hopefully it's
Hopefully.
not whatever that Netflix movie was, because that one was once again not awful, just mediocre.
Again, like they had something because when 10 Cloverfield Lane was a thing, and then there was rumors, and then Super Bowl day, you drop a trailer, you
Yeah.
say that that movie's coming that day. It's like, oh fuck yeah, this is awesome, and then they just kind of went fart
Yeah.
at the end of it.
I really like the tall lady in that movie though. She was also in Tenet. I think
Big
she's
fan of
cool.
tall ladies. I like tall ladies.
Yeah.
I like little
People
ladies
should know
too.
that.
I have to point it out. I like tiny ladies. My lady is a very tiny
To be
lady, so I
fair, I
have
don't
to
discriminate,
gotta.
but for me to consider someone a tall lady, I'm like 6 even, so, like, you gotta be pretty fucking tall.
Yeah, I'm 5'9" on a good day, so like
Like Royce. There you go.
there you go. There you go. So
Keep that going.
I'm plenty lucky that Jimena is like a miniature human being, so because I feel better about myself because I'm
There
not
you
built
go.
I'm not built like that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, this is the Spoonful podcast. It is a show where Evan and I get together and talk about just about anything we want. Give you a spoonful of a nice topic. It goes live not every single, every other Tuesday on youtube.com. Still no link. Subscribe to the channel so we can have a link. You can follow it. Follow us on Twitter at SpoonfulVids so you can keep track of everything we're doing, everything that we are up to, and we're also on all available audio platforms. Please do let us know if the show's not on an audio platform that you know of. Let us know so we can get that sorted out. I will say real quick. If you kind of spot what I'm wearing right now, I'm wearing a Yankees jersey. I will be looking out to my right for a little bit. For those of you who don't know, who don't care, uh, Aaron Judge,
Yankees playing.
yeah, basically. Aaron Judge, big, number one guy on the Yankees. He has 60 home runs on the season. He is one home run away from tying the Yankee and American League record. And basically, 61 home runs is the most that any player had that doesn't do steroids has ever hit in the history of major leagues. Because the only people that went above were steroid users. And it's a pretty big deal. He's at bat right now, so we're gonna do some live cut-ins where I'm
Ooh.
watching this, and if a home run gets hit, cover your ears. I'm gonna be screaming.
It's gonna be Gary Whitta watching that tennis match all over
It's
again from
yeah,
a couple weeks ago.
yeah. When Gary Whitta was watching, not tennis, by the way, definitely football. Uh,
Oh, shoot, okay. Oops. I think
no,
I'm
it's all good.
conflating him with, I think Miss Tinsley was
Yeah,
doing that on Twitter.
happens.
Anyway, different people on Twitter.
Same idea though. If you hear me just randomly screaming, that's what's going on. He's at bat right now, and before we move on to the topic, I'm just trying to stall. So
I'll say this. So we got some interesting topics here today. We're going to be talking about one, I guess you could call it a life change that I want to get acquainted about that we're going to be discussing, and we're also going to be talking about a life changing item that
yeah,
is not at all to the same degree of
no,
like harmoniousness, but
definitely not.
it's also very cool and
But
something I got a lot to say
I'll
about.
tell you something though, Emmett. That life changing item in my new life change, it's gonna be getting a lot of play. It's gonna be getting a
Oh, I
lot of
can
use,
imagine.
buddy. Oh
And I'm
yeah.
gonna be setting you up to get all the use you can out of
Oh,
that
I
thing
can't
because
wait. I can't wait.
you
I was
gotta
already
you gotta
googling some
tweak.
stuff, and I know
Mhm.
you're deep in it, so I know you're my guy. Woo-hoo! Oh baby. Let's
Very
get to it.
excited
Let's
about
get
that.
to it. Aaron Judge, he got walked. He got walked. Okay, now I can actually pay
Alright,
attention to the show. How about that? Be a good host for once.
60 more walks to go for the next record.
We got it. We got it. Almost there. So, if you don't know, if you don't follow me on Twitter, right? Which not everybody who listens to the show does, or maybe everybody does. I don't know. I don't fucking. How would I know that? I don't know why I said that. Anyway, if you don't follow me on Twitter at Mario Bros, I yesterday, as of recording this, so you a week ago, if you're listening to it when the episode came out, tweeted about a pretty decent, pretty big life change. Sort of one of
Mhm.
those traditional steps in life, right? When you picture what your life is quote unquote supposed to be, I'm about to hit one of those, and I'm going to college, which
You're
is
expecting okay, okay, sorry.
no, 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 no. It does sound very similar, but not there,
Much different.
not there. Much different. This one comes first, hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to college, which is never
Hell yeah.
I never really thought I would say that sentence. Yankees scored a run. Let's go Yankees. It's very interesting. A lot of things had to happen to sort of, and I'll get into the detail with you because I do want to kind of share the whole story. But a lot of things had to happen exactly the way they did for me to get to a point in life where I decided to go ahead and take that step and go to college at 24 years old, which is not I'm not like I'm not 47 years
Yeah.
old. And there's nothing wrong with being in your 40s and 50s and going to college, but
Yeah, I had a couple of people in my classes back in the day that
Yeah,
were, with kids and everything.
exactly. It's all good whenever you do it. It's never too late to do it. But I landed in a place where I didn't think I was gonna land at this stage of my life, and I'm young, and it's a good thing for me. So yeah, I mean, I guess the headline: I'm going to college.
Yahoo! Yeah, very happy. Now, where exactly are you going again? I know you're down there in Florida, but
Yeah, so I posted a picture on my Twitter and on my Instagram story too, wearing like a hoodie that Jimena bought me. Adorably, by the way, she went to the same school. It's Broward College, right? It used to be a community college, and now it's just Broward College as a whole. It's a it's a really nice school. They have multiple campuses around the South Florida area near where I'm at, and they're very nice campus. Very that you can tell they've put a lot of money into it, even from the time that Jimena went to it. From now me, they've put a lot of money and resources into making it a pretty nice school, a great way to get your associates, and now they even do some bachelor's programs as well. But
oh yeah.
basically, Jimena and I went to finish up some paperwork that I had to do. She just was joining me, and then she stopped at the university store and she bought me a hoodie because she's cute. She's like a little mom. She's like, "Come on, take your picture. You're going to school."
Yeah. Gotta love
But
it.
you gotta love it. But yeah, no, I mean, I for a while had thought of maybe the possibility of going to school, but the plan that I sort of had was a lot more school being sort of the secondary thing in my life, like working full time and going to school on the side, maybe like some online courses, stuff like that. Because
Mhm.
the plan that Jimena and I originally had, when we first moved into the place we're in now, we were going to get a place of our own, and some things that were supposed to happen kind of fell through, and we were quote unquote stuck for a while in the living situation we're at, where we're staying with our in laws, with Jimena's parents. Um, and the more time that went on, the more that I thought of the idea of being here for a while, where I have the privilege of not having to pay a full rent, right? Um, it's it is a privilege at the end of the day. We do help out with bills and such, but it's funny. I was thinking on a specific night, the meme of like every time that there's an article of like how I saved enough money to buy my first house at
Yep.
25, right? And it's the meme of like they're always gonna be like, and I lived with my parents for 14 years. It's like, well, yeah, no shit. Right?
Exactly.
Like
Saved up.
nobody like not nobody, but a lot of people don't have that privilege, right? Of not having to worry about rent. And I didn't have that privilege since we moved into the US. I moved into the US 7 years ago in 2015 with my mom, just her and I, right? And when I first moved here, I had put in all the paperwork to try to go to college to the same BC, funny enough. But it quickly became apparent that I wasn't going to be able to juggle the stress of having a full-time job, right? And having to start from the ground up with my mom and also go to college, right? So,
Mhm.
I just didn't have that privilege, and there's nothing wrong with having that privilege. I just didn't have it in my situation. And I hadn't had it pretty much my whole life living here in America up until just now, where we sort of happened to be in a spot where we had our job. We were supposed to move into an apartment that fell through, and him and his parents were kind enough and nice enough to let us stay here. We're helping them out with bills and stuff, but obviously, you're us helping them out with bills isn't even like a fraction of the cost of living out on your own, as you could figure out. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, man, I think this is like a blessing in disguise, and I should really go for it and make like school my full-time thing and work part-time, sort of a backwards of
Backwards
what
of how you
my
expected.
yeah. And starting in January 10th is officially my first day of 2023. I'm like a full-time student. It's pretty nuts.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be great. That's gonna be awesome. Have you ever thought, or I guess, are you just going for like just getting your regular classes, getting out that way first? And
Yeah.
what's your plan of attack there, I suppose?
So basically,
If
for
you have
now, yes, for now, I'm just focusing on the associates, right? The funny thing, to give you a little further background, my day job, right? I work at an animal hospital as a veterinary technician. another one of those things in life, from what I was alluding to back at the beginning of the episode, where a lot of small things had to happen, and the butterfly effect of leading up to this spot in life, where I was working at like a I originally was working at Apple a few years ago, and I was kind of in a bad stage in life, right? Where just badly depressed and not very motivated and not doing things the right way, right? I wasn't the best employee, and looking back at it, I'm like, yeah, shit, like that was not great of me. And I ended up quitting that
You're the
job.
bad apple they talk about.
I was that bad. That one bad apple, that was me. I was the poster child for it. And listen, Apple's not a bad company to work for. I just think it in the time it wasn't good for me. Um, and it's funny. I always say that they must have been about to fire me, dude, because I put in my 2 weeks, and they were like, okay, we need you to fill this information out. And then one of the managers came to the back and he's like, so we're gonna pay you out for the next 2 weeks. We're gonna just give you a paycheck. Don't worry about coming in your last 2 weeks,
Gee
which
willikers.
was was fun, right? Like a 2 week paid vacation. I'm like, man, that
Yeah.
means they were ready to fucking let me go. They didn't even want to see me for those last 2 weeks. So get the fuck out of here, dude.
Oh, boy. Well, that's always fun.
So
I had a similar thing, in my last job, but that's a different story.
yeah, we'll get to it next episode.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
we'll get into Emmett's life story, man. We're getting deep and personal here in Spoonful.
God,
But
maybe
anyway,
not, but
that
okay.
led to like a that led to like a shitty sales job, right? That I took at the time and didn't really go anywhere, and I was sort of a little lost for a little bit. Went back to Starbucks, which was one of my first jobs that I had, where I met Jimena, my girlfriend, and everything. But
Hey.
went back to Starbucks for a few months, and Jimena, her sister worked at this animal hospital because she was on the path of wanting to become a veterinarian. She worked at an animal hospital. Jimena was close with the boss and then the doctor and the owner and stuff, and close and friendly. You know, they go to family events and stuff like that. So Jimena had actually a job at that animal hospital as a receptionist, and she was like, "Listen, I think they need like a kennel worker. I can put in a word for you, and it'll be better than Starbucks, right?" So I took it, and I was honestly at the time when I took it, it was strictly the idea of, okay, it's a better job. I'll be able to make a little bit more money, and I won't have to deal with all the bullshit that comes from working in fast food, right? Even though Starbucks, people don't think about it as fast food, but it's pretty much the same thing as a fast food job. Um, so, it was a great move. And through working there, I eventually, just by happenstance, by a few people leaving that animal hospital, got promoted to veterinary technician, which is like a nurse, right? You're basically a nurse of the veterinary world.
Oh,
The more
yeah.
that I started doing that job, and I've been doing it for close to 3 years now, the more I really, really liked it, and the more I enjoyed it and felt like I was good at it. So that was the first seed of like, man, maybe I can go to school for maybe getting certified as a vet tech, right? And because if you're certified, you can get jobs in other states and stuff like that. And that quickly moved on to like, maybe I could just say fuck it and study and become a veterinarian one day, right? And that was that
Mhm.
original idea of like, I can work and I can get all these years of experience while I study on the side. And once I finally can get close to getting a degree, all the years of experience will pay off and all that, right? And the landing back to where we're at, I'm at a spot where I'm starting with my associates and I'm majoring in biology with the idea of going into vet school, but with the also the
Mm.
possibility of, if school goes well for me, because I wasn't a good student in high school, right? I didn't ever fail a class, but I kind of was your typical bare minimum guy. Like I knew
Yeah.
exactly what I needed to do to pass every class, and that's exactly what I did on every class. So I always laugh, for
Feel you.
example, going to school in Venezuela, they taught us English, like English that I'm speaking right now. Um, and I was in my class the most quote unquote bilingual person in class, but I quickly realized that if I only took the tests, right, and did none of the assignments and none of the after school stuff and none of the like English lab stuff, but I only did the tests and I aced every test, I would pass the class. And that's exactly what I did every year.
Max. Yeah, I
And
get
the
that.
funniest thing, I would do the assignments for other people sometimes because they would pay me for it. So
So
that
you
was
do the work anyway.
I do the work anyway, but I'm like, "Yeah, I got like $100 out of it. Fuck yeah, like, let's go." It worked
Yeah,
out.
I respect the hustle. I respect the hustle.
So, and now obviously that was fucking 8 years ago, more than 8 years ago. Like, that was a decade ago. I graduated high school 8 years ago, which is, like, nuts. But
God, that is a long time ago.
it's a long time. It's nearly a decade. So, I as an adult now, I'm thinking I'm going to obviously go into school with a different outcome and with more effort. And the reason why I'm breaking up to be just a part time worker is because I want to give myself that time, especially after not studying for such a long time, of really, really, really focusing in on school. And if school goes well and my grades are good and I'm getting into good schools and stuff, whenever we get there, I have no objection to switching to full blown medical school and trying to become a doctor.
Boy, howdy. I love it.
It's fucking
I'd love
sounds
to hear it.
sounds dude, like, you had told me that a year ago, I'm like, "You're fucking insane." But I'm like, "Alright, now here I am trying to become a doctor."
I mean, that's how it is for everybody, man. It's you get that pressure when you're right about to leave high school or right after high school. You are immediately hit with the pressure of, all right, you're out of the structured thing you've been doing for nearly 2 decades. Figure out what's next.
Right.
And I'll tell you right now, I know a lot of people, including myself, that don't always know what's next immediately. It takes you a while,
Yeah.
and sometimes that's the case. Whether or not if you're in a family who's like, hey, they're expecting you to go to college no matter what, and you go and you don't know what's up, and you flounder in there for a year or a semester or whatever, and then and then you finally figure out what you want to do later on in life. Like it seems like it's good in your case that, yeah, you're coming in quote unquote late, but it's right on time for you because you had all this time to feel around, feel what you want to do. First off, feel around this country because
Yeah, dude,
like
exactly. For real.
yeah, being here in general is like a whole thing to adjust to, let alone adjust to like adulthood, which is a whole nother thing. So now that you're adjusted to all that stuff and then you have a good idea about what direction you want to take, like it's good that you're able to set all this stuff up now and you got plenty of time. People, like I said, I've had classes with folks who had kids in their 40s and their 50s. Like it's absolutely fine. I distinctly remember one language arts class I had where there was a woman in there who looked like she was someone's grandmother,
Fuck yeah,
and
man.
no one wanted to ask questions or whatever, but, like, it was literally that Invader Zim episode with the old guy.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, but this young lady was cool. Of course, she wasn't like, "Oh, man, you heard that new 21 Savage?" But she was like, she was
It's like I
friendly
picture
with
Steve
everybody.
Buscemi with the skateboard, "How you do, fellow kids?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't, like, trying to, like, fit in with us, but she was friendly, and she got along with everybody, and she knew the content just like the rest of us and had no issues with keeping up with everybody. Like, no matter how old you are, it's always worth it to pursue higher education or just education in general. It's always good to know more stuff.
Yeah,
That's my perspective on it.
for
So
sure.
yeah, I'm super proud of you. You're gonna have a
Thanks, man.
lot of because you're doing part-time work. Because for the last couple years where I was in college, where for reasons that we may or may not talk about, I still need to go back and finish up that degree. I'm still kind of split on if I'm going to do that, but um, yeah, for reasons like that, you're going to. I was working while I was getting my degree as well, so you're definitely going to have a lot more time to just like not only just get all your work done and stuff, but also to just exist,
Yeah,
because that's one
breathe
thing.
for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's one thing where even though I'm working full time and I'm not doing other things, I often do feel like, "Oh, man, I am" like today, like I'm off of work today, I'm off tomorrow, but then I'm back the next day, and it's that weekend thing of the first day you have off, you're just in low power mode because 'cause you're
Yeah.
so exhausted from the last few days, and then you get the next day off and you can actually do stuff, but it has that looming threat of the
Of
next
like,
day
"Ah,
coming.
shit," yeah. You're just dreading it the whole day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now with this, you're at least for the first couple semesters, you're gonna be able to not have that much pressure, not have that much energy being drained because from my experience, the first few semesters were okay. And it wasn't until you got deeper and deeper into your actual field of study and then the things that you actually care about and they ask a lot of you,
Yeah.
that's when the energy can get. But by that time, you're so used to the patterns, you're so used to how everything goes that it should be just, it should be just a slight escalations, not a off the charts
From
escalation.
0
So
to 100. Yeah, no, that's sort of what pushed me to really make the decision of, taking advantage of the privilege that I have off right now and not having to worry about school, basically having the again, the privilege, sorry to keep saying the same fucking word, but the privilege of like uh, not having to worry about money for the first time in pretty much my whole life since I've moved here. And that's not because I'm not saying that because I'm so wealthy, but because I have the option to, through
you have a support system
yeah, I have a support system and through student loans and stuff like that, I can have a decent enough mattress or like a decent enough sort of backup plan where work becomes secondary. I'm doing work to stay busy and stuff like that, but it's not like the main factor. Because for me, money is a gigantic cause of mental health problems. Like on top of everything that I
Mhm,
have, when money gets bad, my mental health gets worse. So I knew that I couldn't be in a spot where money's a problem. I wasn't going to be able to flourish in school as much as I would in another situation. You know what I mean?
because your brain's on that instead of the studies,
Yeah,
yeah.
your brain's on something else, and then the same thing of like, and listen, we all hear the stories. I'm not saying it's not possible, right? Of like working full time and studying full time. It's possible. People do it. It's draining. It's a lot. But I haven't studied in so long, and B, I know my limits to a certain degree. That I agree with you, man. Like my current work schedule, I don't have 2 days off in a row, and even that sort of lifestyle can get very exhausting because my days off are Tuesdays and Sundays, right? In my current setup. And every Tuesday and every Sunday feels the exact same way where I'm like, oh, great, I'm off. Awesome. I'm going to be off tomorrow. But then it's like, oh,
Mhm.
well, at this time I have to do this thing, right? I have to do laundry. And then after I do laundry, I have to go to
Chores.
my mom's house and go visit her. And, love my mom. Got to go visit her. No worries. But I go do that. And then when I come back, I got to clean my room. And then when I do that, I forgot that I had to do blah blah blah, like record the podcast just to say anything, right?
Yep,
And then suddenly, by the time that I'm done doing everything, it's 8 p.m. And I'm like, oh, I'm at the same spot that I would have been if I had worked today, where here I am, it's 8 p.m. I'm sitting on my desk and I'm tired. I'm like, well, I guess I'll
yep.
play a game for a little bit. And like that's brutal. So that's why I wanted to make sure to give myself, the traditional Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday off, and we'll see how it goes.
Mhm, yeah. Yeah, hopefully I mean, if you can balance your time and from the fact that even before any of this, you were out here doing Twitch streams, making podcasts, you were doing
Dude,
all that shit. So,
yeah,
like
fuck me.
so you already were, like, managing your time better than most, I would say.
Shit was,
S
yeah. I mean, one of the things I did want to say for people who follow me and thankfully care about things that I do, which it means the world. I have always online publicly talked about how my dream, what I was building towards, was to work in the video game industry, right? And I've had episodes of One Big Topic where I've talked about my goals and how my goals have changed a little bit, living more and seeing how volatile the games industry can be and how demanding it can be sometimes without necessarily giving you the same in return, right? Like
Mhm.
it's a tough gig, right? And for a long time, my dream has been explicitly like working at Kind of Funny, right? Like because that's
Yeah.
where we all met each other, and I think Kind of Funny takes care of its people in a way that's a little bit different than your random like Fanbite. Like let's talk about Fanbite for example, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah. Fanbite seemed like it was great, but the fact that they're owned by a corporate overlord
exactly.
kind of counters it.
Fanbite was great. We both know people who work and or worked at Fanbite, and people were really really happy to work there. But again, it's corporations and stuff. Kind of funny in specific there. Them being independent, and we've had contact with people there, we understand. I mean, we had Blessing on the episode last time, but
Yep.
we understand that they take care of their people and they're a little bit different than the rest of the industry. And I'm not saying that they're the only people who are, good, but it's and we know them, right? And I'm a
Mhm.
fan of them. God damn it, like my first fucking tattoo was the Kind of Funny logo.
Bingo,
And
bango.
through the years, I've had the pleasure of getting to know, people like Kind of Funny and being friends with them. And we back when I was Twitch streaming, I would play Call of Duty with Nick Scarpino fucking every night, basically. But, like, this doesn't necessarily mean that that dream is dead for me, that I'm, like, not pursuing it, never wanting to do it again, but it does, it sidetrack it a little bit. If it
Yeah.
happens, it's great, but this is kind of the focus right now. And to go back to the Twitch streaming, I'm probably not gonna be streaming a whole lot, uh, as a heads up,
Understandable.
because yeah, listen, I loved all the time that I did streaming. I did streaming very regularly and very frequently for like over a year while I was doing one big topic, and it was great and it was rewarding and it was fun, but it also is exhausting, man. Like
Mhm.
being a
Oh,
full-time streamer, I've never done it, and I don't know if I would ever want to do it, man, because that's a streaming's brutal, man. Like it's a tough gig.
it's I'll say this, it is brutal when you're doing it all on your own. If you don't have, like, a
Yes,
whole mod team and all this stuff, it is
totally.
brutal there, and it's also especially brutal if you're doing it after you've had a whole day
Yes,
of work and other things.
exactly.
Because even when I never streamed regularly like you did, but I did, I streamed a lot more back in the day. Like, I remember and I'll do a bad thing. I do this often with a lot of stuff where I'll be like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this," and I'll look at my schedule and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can sneak this in." And I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this whole thing." Like Ratchet and Clank, the PS5 one was about to come out, and I'm like, "I'm gonna stream all the ones I haven't played. So 1 through 3, let's fucking go." I did all of 1. That took me like a month. I did almost all of 2 until I got to the final boss. I think I actually came back and did the final boss, and I said, "Alright, I'm gonna come back for 3 one day," and I haven't done 3.
Yeah. No,
And I
I
have
get
Secret
it.
Agent Clank. So it's one of those things where, like, at a certain point, it's just, man, I have a lot to do. And also, when did Ratchet and Clank come out? Was that last year?
That
Or was that the year
was
before? I wanna say that
that's
was
a good question.
2020.
I think it was last year. It was last year, I wanna say.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up while I'm talking.
Yeah,
But
I'm
yeah,
I'm
these
checking my
things
GG. I'm pretty sure it was last year. Yep,
okay,
last year.
for
Last year for sure. Came out last
okay,
year.
alright,
I
so it
think it
was
was
last
early
year.
last year, which is what makes it a little confusing.
Yeah, yeah, that's one thing. And also just to go on the topic that you already were talking about, like I'm also another person where I'm like, I've wanted to work in the games industry for several years. Like that's something where it's still something I like to do.
Yeah.
But over the last couple years, especially with it's a twofold combination of when you start realizing, oh, there are millions of people who want this exact same
Yeah.
thing and not even saying like, "Oh, I'm not gonna put in the work for it," because everyone's gonna put in the work for it, but it's more a case of like they take advantage of the fact that everyone wants
For
this,
sure.
so that if you ever get it, you will take the worst conditions, worst pay, you will take whatever just to get under the door
Yeah, and
into
also
position.
with the big caveat of, like, you have to move to the most expensive city in the fucking planet.
Yeah. Oh, and that's one thing I never took into account. I was like, "Okay, yeah, San Francisco is expensive," but this is back, like, right after high school, during high school, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's expensive, but isn't being an adult just expensive? Doesn't it cost a lot?
I mean,
Doesn't it just
yes,
cost a lot to
you're
live?"
you're not wrong,
But
but
yeah,
San
but it's one of
Francisco
those
is
things
insane.
where I went to because I mean, you went to Kinda Funny Prom as well.
Yes.
Is that
That's
correct?
where
Yeah,
we actually officially met. Super funny
exactly,
side
for the
story.
first time.
Super fun side story, real quick. Jimena the other day, we were talking about the podcast and stuff, and Jimena loves you. She listens to the podcast. She thinks you're great.
I
Um,
see her in the comments, shout
yeah,
out.
there you go. She's a OG, man. But she was like, "Have you ever actually met Emmett?" I'm like, "Well, the funny thing is, yes, we met at Kind of Funny Prom, but when we met in person, we did not interact nearly as much as we do now." I'm like,
That's
"We
true.
became homies way after meeting each other in person,"
Mhm.
which is a fun little side note of our like next time
How
we
it
see
is.
each other in person, it'll be like a big moment, like a big hug
Yeah,
moment.
it will be an event.
Whereas like that Kind of Fun Prom is like, "Hey, oh yeah, you're Emmett, I'm Mario. What's up, dude?" Like it's kind of a
Yep.
funny
I've
move.
seen you. You've seen me. Great.
Exactly,
Bye.
yeah. Okay, see you later.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I literally told you, like, "Oh, by the way, your diss tracks to Blessing were hilarious. I love those." And that was
Yes.
it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what everyone's telling me.
Yeah, that was
It's
it.
like, "Oh, you're the diss track guy," and I'm like, "Yeah."
I guess so,
I
yeah.
very surreal to be instantly recognized by hundreds of people that weekend. That was weird. But
Yes,
but yeah,
agreed.
going on that trip, going to Kinda Funny Prom was the thing that really hammered home, "Oh, shit, it costs way too much to be out here." Because
Yeah, man.
this was like, okay, it's 2017. So yeah, I'd been out of high school for a while, but I still wasn't like I wasn't thinking with that mindset yet. I still had my first job, which is the last job I had, which was working at a grocery store. And I did not have enough money to be out there in San
Yeah.
Francisco.
No, me neither, man.
and I
I don't know how
and
I
I had
did
been
it.
saving I had been saving for months. I was like, all right, I got a couple hundred, I'll be good. And this is before I had a credit card too, so I didn't have a backup or anything. It was what you saved is what you got. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'll be fine. And then the thing that fucked me over was the person I was staying with, they were only staying in the area because they had an internship at PlayStation. I'm not going to talk about who they are, but they were like, "Oh, I'll give you a hookup for the gift shop." And I'm like, "Oh no,
Oh,
you shouldn't have told me
no.
that." And so a good like 120 went to buying shit in that gift shop, most of which I didn't even need. Like I bought Detroit Become Human. I've never played it. Still to
I
this
love it.
day. Because it had just come out and I was like, they have it for 40 instead of 60. This came out yesterday. I'm snagging this.
Like,
And
I
then I never
got it,
played it.
man.
Yeah, so my dumbass, but yeah, just
No.
you figuring things out and the whole situation of now I will say, as far as the industry of video games goes, there are a lot of people who are not based out of California that are making it
Yeah.
happen.
I
You
think
can min
COVID
max out
helped a
there.
lot with because
Mhm.
now remote jobs are pretty standard, in the industry, which helps
Yeah.
for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's one of those things where, yes, it is a lot easier to get into it because even, like, I'm near the Atlanta area, and they have some positions that I'm looking at like, "Ooh, maybe I'll do that." But I keep doing that thing of like, "Well, isn't everyone having this exact same conversation?"
Yeah,
And then
me too.
also, like and then the nebulous thing about qualifications where it's like, sometimes it'll say qualifications on the thing, but then you'll only have, like, some things that are slightly off put of that stuff.
Yeah,
It'll be like, "Oh, we need this. You have to have done this, this, and this." And it's like, "I haven't done that, but I've done this," and it's close enough to where they can, like, bring those skill sets over still, and I'm
totally.
just like, I don't know how much of that applies to me.
Yeah,
So, it makes me really sheepish about, applying for some of these things, and for the stuff that I have applied for, it hasn't come through, so it's like,
same.
maybe I'll just I'm at that stage I think I'm at the stage right before you
Mhm.
right now, where you have, you figured out you like this veterinary thing, you enjoy it, you wanna, stick with that, and that's great. I'm at the standpoint where I'm questioning a career in video games. I have not yet figured out a replacement
Yeah,
that I like.
that's a tough one. Tough one to
Yeah,
get to that.
yeah, because it's like because the job I have right now, it pays very well, but it's a blue collar job. It's warehouse. I am running around the entire night. I'm not even working mornings yet. I'm running around the
Fuck.
entire night, and then I get home at like 2 a.m. and I'm like, all right, time to boot up the Steam Deck or whatever. And I just fall asleep. So
Knock
so,
out on
yeah,
it.
I mean, it
Yeah,
pays me very handsomely, but I do want to figure out, okay, what is that next stage? And like I said, with that degree, going back to finish it, that is also part of it to where that was always the plan. Video games industry was always the plan. But from hearing about how, a site like Fanbyte can be gutted with no warning and then I'm out of a job or,
yeah,
all the misconduct going on in the actual people making the games industry, like there's a lot of, like, landmines that makes me not wanna step on the battlefield sometimes.
for sure.
But, yeah, it's a lot to think about, and it just makes me all the more happier to see that you have figured out what you wanna go forward with, figure out what you wanna do, and can't wait to see you do it because 'cause you're gonna make it fucking happen.
Yeah, no, dude, thank you a lot. That means a lot, and I totally agree with you, man. Like, let's be real. Like, the I think the most brutal thing about trying to go for a games industry job is it's a grind with seemingly no end in your mind, right? Like, you're
Mhm.
just building up a portfolio infinitely until you get lucky enough or you meet the right person. Like, there is a certain level of luck that has to come into landing a games industry job with talent and with portfolios, right? Like it's not
Yeah,
just luck, but luck factors into it, and there
yeah. When
isn't.
everyone's talented, luck is the decider.
So exactly, and there
Yeah,
isn't a clear path, right? Like in listen, in the amount of time that I really went the hardest in my life on content, where I was doing one big topic, where I was doing my streams, where I was doing random YouTube videos that I would think about, that was the most cylinders that I was firing at, and I got super burnt out of it. It just killed me because what you're saying, when you're working a full time job and working at a vet, the animal hospital that I work at doesn't have like insane like 12-hour shifts, but they're still really long days. Like I go in at 8, we have a big break in between, but by the time I make it home, it's usually 7 p.m. So that's a big amount of time at work to come back and have to, stream for 4 hours and edit a podcast, edit a video, or write a video. You know, I
it
know
can be a
that
lot.
I know there's a good chance that in that time, if I had kept going, maybe the lucky thing would have struck for me, right? Because One Big Topic was a very successful show. I was very proud of it. I had a lot of guests on that I would have never imagined I had on, and through that show, I've gotten to meet so many great people in the games industry, and that's one of the things that I'm happiest about us doing Spoonful is that aspect of it is going to continue on, right? We're gonna keep bringing in cool people that we know that are in the industry, and you know we're gonna keep that up. But
Hell
the
yeah.
the sort of unknowingness of a clear path of getting into the games industry, it fucks with your brain, man. When you're doing something for 2 years straight and you have no idea if you're any closer than you were when you didn't start it, and uh, going the traditional school route is you're still putting in a lot of work and you're still doing in a lot of stuff and it's still exhausting, but there is a very clear finish line, right?
Mhm.
There's very clear guidelines and very clear goals and very clear boxes to check. And it- um the way I like to think about it is this is what I'm going for, and I'm doing it for myself and to try to better my life at the moment. And if there's nothing wrong with just living a normal life, right? Where you just go into your job
Exactly.
and it's great. And if something else happens, cool. Who knows, right? Like for all I know, in a year, Spoonful could have 17 million subscribers, and we
Jesus
have a team.
Christ.
I don't. Hey man, shoot for the
Are
sky.
we Mr. Beasting our videos and just
Yeah,
watering shit down?
absolutely. We're giving people $100,000 for whatever it is. That's gonna be our future. But listen,
Oh
like you
boy.
never know, man. Like who the fuck knows? We could,
Yeah.
you know. I always like to think of fucking Carl Jacobs. Like speaking of kind of funny prom, we were out
God
there
bless.
hanging out with Carl Jacobs. Funny, weird little guy, right? Like that's all that Carl was at then. It's like funny little dude, man. Fucking everybody loves Carl. Look at this fucking guy. He's funny as hell. And he's the biggest fucking superstar in the goddamn planet. Like,
Yep.
you never
Dude's
fucking
on the
know,
Kids Choice
dude.
Awards.
Literally, exactly. It's like you never fucking know, man. Like, so
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe Spoonful will take over, and
exactly.
that'll be the thing. But I'm excited to do this sort of traditional life
Mhm.
things for now.
I will say, as one last note to leave this on, I do feel like things are going in a positive direction as far as, like, the games media in
I
general
agree.
being a place for, because really the main reason people wanna work in games is because you love games, you wanna work with them. But none of the benefits, none of the actual day-to-day
Yeah.
life,
No.
none of that seems appealing. But because there's been so much discourse about unionization,
Hmm.
about, trying to fight against burnout, about all this stuff, that has been such a strong discourse in the last like 2 years or so of games media. And especially on the games creation side, I feel like once unions and everything start becoming a really common thing on the game creation side, it's only going to follow in the media, because
For sure.
I feel like that's kind of what happened with films, where if you start covering a what is it, an industry that is all about respecting their workers, you're gonna wonder why you're not being respected as a worker. So give it a couple years. I'm sure things will come together. It won't be easy. It's gonna be a lot of resistance, I'm sure, because we are in late capitalism at this point. This ain't the film industry anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
Millionaires and
but
billionaires want to stay millionaires and billionaires.
exactly. But they will either way, which is the
I
crazy part.
know. It's they're
But
fucking greedy fucks, all of them.
Exactly. But it makes me a little bit more hopeful that things aren't gonna be like this forever. Whether or not they'll be fixed by the time I can still take advantage of any of that stuff, we'll see. But hey, things are on the way up.
Things are on the way up. Can't wait for 15 years from now to me be a full blown doctor and we're doing Mr. Beast videos
Oh yeah.
on
My kid's gonna
Spoonful's
get the best healthcare from EA.
Spoonful's 17th channel. I'll be a doctor. We'll fucking be out here doing our thing, dog.
I'll be a biochemist. I don't know. Is
Oh
that a thing?
yeah, dude. Biochemist and a doctor talking about video games all day. Let's go.
God, we'll be the new doctors. Fuck Bioware.
Come on. I love it. Now for our second sort of topic of discussion here, and what I alluded to, as a newfound, right, college student, you know how much fucking Steam Deck I'm gonna play, boy?
Woo!
Woo! Oh, let's go, man.
Way howdy. So first off, when is yours? So you don't have it yet. It's scheduled to come this
I
week, I'm
don't.
guessing.
I don't, and this is the part where I'm very nervous and very, very scared. Uh, if you've bought a Steam Deck, you know that Valve ships your Steam Deck through FedEx. If you've ever used FedEx, that should strike a little bit of fear into your heart. I think FedEx fucking sucks. I've never had good experiences with FedEx personally. If you don't, great. Good for you. Every fucking time that I've bought something and it's gotten shipped through FedEx, it's been a fucking nightmare. I'll start
Mm,
there, right? Like where packages get lost or whatever it may be. But I'm feeling good, right? They originally said that the package was going to arrive on Thursday. That was the first thing they said.
mm,
And then they updated it. They're like, it's going to get here Tuesday. I'm like, fuck yeah, man. And
yeah.
now it says like it's going to get here Wednesday. And, it's in Ocala right now, which is like a 4-hour drive from where I'm at. So all things are leading up to I might get this thing tomorrow. Where I'm deadly fucking scared. There's supposed to be a hurricane that hits us tomorrow,
Fuck.
and I don't
Ugh.
know what's gonna happen to my Steam Deck, man. I'm fucking scared.
Oh man. Whew. I don't know how to handle that. What's the category? Because here's the thing: I did not know there was a hurricane coming to the Florida area until TL hit me up.
Yeah.
Um. So, and that was last week. So I was like, "Oh, there's a hurricane coming." What? Um. Do you know what category it is? Like, is it a massive one or is it just like
It's
go
supposed
inside?
they're saying it's gonna be a big boy hurricane. The thing is, I'm not right where the landing is. We're like on the outside of the cone because it's gonna hit a little bit
Mm,
more central Florida. But today already we had like a couple flood warnings and tornado warnings. While we were recording, I heard the fucking loudest thunder I've ever
oh
heard in my
boy.
life while we were recording. But I don't know. It's supposed to. They're saying landfall is gonna be like Wednesday night ish. So I'm fucking like hoping my Steam Deck can squeak it out, man. Like I'm rooting for that thing to outrace the hurricane so bad. I'm checking on that thing every 5 minutes. And
Mm,
when I saw that it left Ocala, I think it was at like 5 p.m. today. I'm like, you
oh
got
boy.
this. You fucking got this, Steam Deck. Let's go. I'm
Well, I'll
scared.
say it's a category 3, which is not a category 5, but still serious
Decent.
enough to where, yeah, you should be a little concerned. Your house won't get ripped apart, but it might get a little damage.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Exactly.
Um, as far as like if it's hitting nightfall, then if it hits ground in nightfall, then I would say usually when I got mine, it came around like 3 p.m. So
That's what I'm fucking
I
hoping for, dude.
and usually FedEx is like, "Oh, we'll deliver it between now and like 9 p.m."
Yeah,
And unless you're at the very end of the route, I doubt it's gonna be 9 p.m. For most people, expect it like afternoonish.
right.
And I'll also say, just as someone, if you're working at FedEx and listening to this, I understand that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I
people
agree.
like I've seen the TikToks of people being like, "Yo, FedEx, UPS, all these places suck. They give you a million heavy packages to where you can't see out the back door, and you're the
Yeah.
only person that has to
Listen,
put them out."
when I say that I think FedEx sucks,
And like,
nothing
I get
goes
it.
to the
Yeah.
workers. If anything, I stand with the workers because I'm sure the fucking management and the corporate, the higher ups, I'm sure they're fucking even worse to you than like to us as a whole. If you're a worker, if you work at FedEx or anything, God bless you. I know you're doing your best and I know they
Mhm.
exploit the living shit out of you. But
They should put
I hate your
yeah,
company probably as much as you hate your company. We can both
yeah.
shake hands on that.
They should put a second person in the car and some AC at the very fucking least.
Yes, Jesus
So,
Christ.
yeah.
They're
So,
awful.
yeah,
That's what I'm
I
saying. They're
totally
fucking
understand.
terrible. I fucking hate FedEx, the
Yeah.
company.
Yeah, it's fucking awful. So, I'll say, one good thing, because I know a lot of people are concerned about, "Oh, they're gonna snatch it in the mail. They're gonna know what it they're gonna see the logo and be like, 'Oh, it's mine now.'" My box didn't have any logos on it.
Nice.
So you should be good. It just looks inconspicuous, thankfully. And yeah, here's hoping. I was gonna say, oh, hopefully they don't watch this episode, but by the time this airs,
We're good.
it will be yeah,
By the time
like
this airs,
it'll
the
be the next
house
week.
could have been the roof could have been blown off. Who knows? Who knows?
uh, let's
Who
hope
knows?
that's not the fucking
Let's
case.
hope not. But
Um,
listen, also, like, not only is the Steam Deck gonna be great for, like, college life, right? Like, where I already have, the idea of, like, I have my laptop on my backpack, and I have this and this, and the Steam Deck in my backpack.
boom,
But
boom.
you know what's a perfect device if the power goes out and you're in a hurricane? The Steam
Steam
Deck.
Deck. Ooh, be careful with that though, because yes, Steam Deck is a great portable device. As a portable
Oh,
device,
yeah, it
it's
dies
not.
quick, I know that.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you're trying to play shit at 60 frames per second, you got 2 hours max.
This is where my back to school, because listen, I'm a tech guy, you get it. We're
Bingo,
video
bango.
game. Oftentimes, video game fans. I hate saying gamers, but I'll say it. Gamers also are
Gamers is
into
non-derogatory.
gamers non-derogatory. Oftentimes, we're in the tech world as well. We like tech stuff. I'm a big tech guy, so going to school has been very exciting on the tech side of me because I'm like, ooh, now I get to shop for a laptop. And ooh, now I get to shop for like a battery bank. What battery bank do I want?
Yeah.
What tech backpack? What backpack is best for school and for tech? And I'm like doing all these things and I'm in my prime, dude. I'm like Googling, I'm watching YouTube videos, I'm loving it. So I have a power bank that I'm going to use. Probably not gonna get it by tomorrow though, unfortunately. But if I had, it would have been the perfect, like, I got a big boy power bank, I got my Steam Deck, don't even give a shit if the power goes out, but I'll at least get a couple hours out of it. I'll feel good for those 2
You
hours.
will, you will. Plus, especially with the Steam Deck, its offline mode is very particular, so you probably want access to the internet for a minute
Mm.
just to be able to, like, do any of that stuff.
I'll get to
But,
learn all that. I'll get to learn all that soon.
exactly. Yeah. As far as like learning with the Steam Deck, the thing I can say to you is just do not be afraid to tweak it. I'll
Mm.
say that because I feel like a lot of people, I feel like the market for the Steam Deck is going to do this anyway, but just a lot of technology, people are like, oh, I just want the stock. I don't want to mess it up.
Nah,
Like you
it's
get
a
nervous
PC,
about that.
dog. That's how I view it.
Exactly.
It's a PC.
It,
I'm gonna fucking
you already got
go
the right
crazy. I'm gonna
mindset.
go crazy.
Yeah.
It's a tiny
Because
little PC. I'm gonna go nuts.
yeah, I've literally gotten every like pretty much any game that I could want to play, I can play on the Steam Deck with the exception of like I'm not doing any Switch stuff.
Yeah, no.
and I'm not doing I think the only thing I don't have on there, like I have Xbox Game Pass on there. They have the streaming app and they have a
Oh
guide
yeah,
on Microsoft's website that shows you how to set that up. I've gotten Google Stadia on there
of course
running,
you do. Of course
and
you do.
of course, because I'm a weird freak. Um, I got that going. I got PS4/PS5 remote play going, which surprisingly enough, more
Works.
latency on PS5 remote play
Really?
than Xbox Game Pass.
Huh.
Like
Interesting.
very interesting. Yeah, interesting how that works. But I have it on there nonetheless if I do want to play like a turn-based strategy game or something through remote play. I've got a shit ton of PS2 games, got a bunch of PSP games on there. I have one GameCube game, the first person shooter Geist,
Of course.
that probably
Classic.
no one
Why wouldn't you?
remembers, but I saw a YouTube video and was like, that looks cool. I'm gonna play it. So I have that on there. Um, and I have just a bunch of Steam games, and I also have a few Epic Store slash GOG games on.
Nice.
And yeah, it's a good setup. I'll say for folks, for you who's about to get the Steam Deck, do you have a memory card with it? Which version of the deck did you get? I probably asked.
I got the 256 gig. Know that it's not a whole lot, but I will somewhere down the line buy a 1 terabyte SD card.
Okay, yeah, you've gotten the right one. I was gonna say if you got the 64 gig like I did, maybe
Oh
bad
no.
choice
Yeah.
because I wanted it. I actually pre-ordered it a while ago, and I got the max edition back before I have my current job, and
Mm.
when I had that old job, I was like, "There's no way I can afford the maximum price of this thing," so I
And now
bumped
you're
it all
like,
the way down
"Fuck,
to
now
the
I could
lowest.
afford it, and I have
Yeah,
the different pre-order, god damn it."
exactly, so I'm kinda regretting that, but at this point, it's fine. But yeah, they whenever you install a game on Steam, it's trying to install, like, the shaders for all the
Mm.
games that you install, and those go on the default storage, which is your internal, and when you're downloading a bunch of games I have, like, a
Yeah,
500 gig card. With a 500 gig card, I'm installing enough games to where it's like, "Yo, there's we're trying to put way too many
this is
shaders on
getting a
this
little
thing and
tough.
it maxed out my memory pretty quickly," but actually, there's a tool someone made to where now you can either clear that cache or move it to your SD card now, so it's not as big of a problem now, but it was rough when I
Yeah.
first got it, but yeah,
Let me
just
let
have
me ask you a
mhm,
question.
go
Do
ahead.
you have, because I know you've been doing all the stuff, I know I'm assuming you did the thing where you basically have Windows 11 installed on the Steam Deck?
No,
You didn't?
I did
Okay,
not.
interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, I figured I was looking at reviews, and it seems like a lot of the reason why games run so well on the Steam Deck is because it's using Linux, it's using, like, a
Yes.
custom kind of OS, so it's not necessarily saying, "Hey, we need to access all the same stuff that Windows does." When they were playing I remember because I was curious, "Can I play Fortnite on this thing?" I saw them open up Windows, boot up Fortnite, and Fortnite wasn't running much better than my phone,
Mm,
honestly.
mm,
So I said, if I'm trading off that much performance, then I can play it through Xbox Cloud Gaming, and the latency is not really perceivable to me. So
cool.
I'll
Yeah,
just
because
keep it.
when I had looked into it when I had looked into how to use Xbox PC Game Pass, a lot of people were like, "Just fucking install Windows on it and run the Windows app." So, I'll get to dive into all that, but let me tell
Yeah.
you, dude. This guy here, I feel so bad for this guy that I'm holding here. Cause
I
like,
unplugged the dock.
yeah, no, dude, I have my dock plugged in my on my desk. It's not even connected to my TV. It's just for charging purposes. But I feel so bad for this guy. Cause listen, the Switch and I have an interesting relationship, right? Where
Hmm.
it'll be sitting there for 6, 7 months at a time, like, untouched, haven't even lifted it one time, unless it's for, like, had people over and we're, like, playing Mario Party, stuff like that.
Yeah,
But every
yeah.
now and then, a few games come out, and, I play them on Switch, and I fall in love with the Switch. I'm like, "Oh, the Switch is fucking great," and I fall in love all over it again. I played, what's it called? The last year I beat, the Mario and Rabbids
Kirby?
game.
Oh, Mario, yeah.
Loved that on the Switch. This year I played like Kirby on the Switch. I finally bought Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury and stuff, and I'm like, man, Switch is awesome. I fucking love this console. This is so great. I love it. Since Kirby, I don't think I've touched it. Um,
Same.
I
Exact
remember
same.
buying Nino Kuni Wrath of the White Witch because it was like on sale. It was like $5. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm buying that. That's gonna be the next game I play on my Switch. Haven't played it one time since I bought it.
Mhm.
And now with the Steam Deck looming, I'm like, oh man, it's looking bad for you, Nintendo Switch. Like Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope is coming, and I'm excited for that game, and I know I'm gonna play that game. And like Live Alive or Live a Live, however it is, that's a game that I've been
Oh,
wanting to
yeah.
play. But other than
Mhm.
that, I'm like, oh, it's not looking good for the Nintendo Switch over here.
Yeah, when you wanna talk about this thing compared to a Switch, it is night and day.
Yeah.
Like, I realize because 'cause I'm a big Risk of Rain 2 person, and
Mm.
I played a lot of Risk of Rain 2 on Switch, probably a good, like, 20, 30 hours. I have most of my time in Risk of Rain 2, a good, like, 70 plus hours on Steam, and booting it up on Steam Deck, completely verified, didn't have to really tweak anything to get it working, running at 60 frames out the box. I'm like, "Oh,
Beautiful.
no, this is
Beautiful.
I'm never going back."
Yeah. No,
And you're gonna get a lot of that. And another thing I'll say about the Switch is, while it's fun, playing games in a mobile form factor is great, what I miss is the fact that there's no ecosystem on
mm,
Nintendo's consoles where, yes, they have the little, "Oh, you got little rewards points, and if you buy a bunch of games on here, you get coins to make it cheaper." All that stuff, sure, but there's no like, I can't tell you how much time I'm playing unless I play, like, more than 5 hours, and then it'll start showing me the timer and the
right.
settings.
Right.
Like, all these there's no achievement system, there's none of that stuff. Steam is such a compelling ecosystem where
Dude,
it makes
it's
sense why
fucking
people.
awesome.
Yeah, because I for the longest time, I'm like, people on PC always complain, "Oh, it's not on Steam, I don't play it." It's like, well, you could still play the game. It's still on PC. I understand now because you're getting Steam trading cards and you can trade those in for actual money, and then you're getting money to spend back on other games to get more trading cards. There's an achievement system, all these like profile
Oh,
bonuses, all these
dude.
little skins for your
Knowing
keyboard.
you, the
It's
way
like
you're gonna fucking game the trading card system, I fucking
let me
dude,
tell you.
the way you
I
do
it's
Microsoft rewards and oh, by the way, speaking of, I thought of
sure.
you the other day because I'm looking at the Microsoft like student discount page, and because I'm probably gonna get myself a Surface Pro for school because it's like perfect. Take little notes. It's also a laptop. It's beautiful. Um,
Hmm.
all I was thinking about at some point when I was like looking at different discounts and all that, I'm like, I bet Emmett could get this shit for free because this guy is such an expert on the goddamn Microsoft rewards points. I bet he could buy 14 of them and pay $2.
You know what? I probably couldn't do that.
I
I have like $60
exaggeration.
worth of points right now because if
Love
I'd
it.
never spent any of my points, I'd have easily over $200 in
That's what I'm
points.
saying,
But
man.
yeah, I'm pretty crazy when it comes to that stuff. I will say I've been falling off recently, but oh wait, I have a payout. I can claim $7 for my rebates right now.
See, come on.
Um, Perhaps I'll do that later. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff on Steam where it's like I can either play it on Switch or I could play it on Steam and have, I also use have I ever talked about Exophase with
Yeah,
you?
a little bit, a
Okay.
little bit.
Yeah. Long story short, Exophase is a site that tracks every single platform you play. So it'll tell you how long you've been playing on PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, GOG, Epic, anything. And my gameplay from Steam pops up in Exophase right there along with everything else. Where if I'm playing it on a Switch, I have to go in there, manually add Risk of Rain 2,
No.
wait until I've played enough for it to show me the playtime, then copy the playtime and put it onto Exophase manually. I never like doing any of that. So now everything's automatic and it feels like how things should be rather than
Yeah.
going back in time playing a Switch.
For sure. First game that I've thought of, and I'll leave you with this, playing on the Steam Deck. Almost like a game that haven't even tried to play otherwise because I know it'd be so perfect on the Steam Deck. Rogue
Mm.
Legacy 2. Rogue Legacy
Ooh.
was probably my favorite Vita game. Adore that game. When Rogue Legacy 2 came out, I was like, I could buy it on PC, but that's not how I fucking want to play Rogue Legacy. Steam Deck's the way to go. Because for me, like, I don't have it yet. Granted, so next episode I'll get into it a lot deeper with you. But for me, I'm yeah, the idea that I can play Elden Ring on the go, right, and like knock something out real quick is cool, and the fact that I can continue the games that I'm playing and all that, and the auto save. But I'm more excited to play different games than what I have on my PC. You know, like
Yeah.
to treat it as its own thing rather than just as an extension of my PC is what I'm actually excited for. Of like games that I wouldn't necessarily play on the PC, but they feel perfect on the Steam Deck, like Rogue Legacy 2.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I do you mostly play games on PC? Is that like your primary platform, you would
Yeah,
say?
nowadays it is. PC is for sure what I play the most on.
Okay, okay. In that case, I can't say I relate too much because I'm looking at my games. Actually, wait a second. I'm looking at my games and I made a Steam folder a while ago that was like all games. And it had 259 games in there. And I'll tell you right now, most of which I have not touched. Um,
Yeah.
164 of them I have not opened at all. Um, but then I have another folder that's called trading cards, and there's over 340 games in there. So I'm not sure what it is. But long
Damn.
story short, I have a very big Steam library because when I first got this PC, I was really into Steam sales for a while and claiming the random
Oh,
keys
that's
and
how
all
they
this
get you,
stuff.
man.
Oh yeah, and I'm getting back into that. Literally this week I bought like 7 games
Happy for you, man.
just because they were cheap. And now I'm starting to think, oh, because it's like all portable and everything, instead of me bringing my PS4 with all the Jackbox games on it, or my PS5 at now, I guess I got to start saying that now. I can just bring my Steam Deck because years ago I claimed the Humble Bundle that had all the Jackbox games on
I
it.
love it.
I have all of them except like the latest two. I'll buy those, and then I bought PlayStation All Stars Brawl for that, and I'll say, oh, I'll just bring controllers with me, and then we got a fucking LAN party without me having to bring the big lunky console.
Fucking
Like
amen, dude.
it's too perfect. Yeah, Steam Deck's gonna be great. We're gonna be talking about it a lot more
Oh
in
yeah.
future episodes, but
Stay
I
tuned.
am
Stay
so
tuned for
happy
next
for you.
episode. Once hopefully by next episode the hurricane didn't fly away my Steam Deck and I can we can get into the nitty gritty.
I got my fingers fucking crossed. Do you have at least have an awning in your not driveway, but what is it called? The
Oh,
patio?
right. Yes, I do.
Okay,
So
all right. In
hopefully that
that case,
works
you'll be
out.
good. It'll probably be raining by the afternoon, but I
Yeah.
don't think,
Imma
you're
be
not gonna be holding on to a
Imma be
lamppost.
staring at that door, like, just outside waiting for that FedEx truck to roll
Ooh,
through.
I hope out for delivery is the first thing you see in the morning tomorrow.
Oh, let's cross our fingers. And that, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary folks, is the Spoonful podcast. Thank you so much for listening and or watching. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet. That way we'll be able to get a nice little custom link there for you. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. I'm at Mario Bros. Emmett is at EJSponge61. Spoonful is at Spoonful Vids. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to leave a comment. Thank you so much. By the way, thank you so much for your love on last week's episode. You guys were
Oh, yeah,
great.
it was great.
We will see you in a couple weeks. Hopefully, my house didn't fly away.
God.